Hey guys, Dr. Drunk aka here with a game for you in my Tier 8 Premium US destroyer, the USS Kidd. Top tier on Land of Fire. I'm divvied up with Big Dog and Speed Lunker. Build is pretty standard for the Kidd. AA build with the module and the defensive AA premium consumable. Standard Ovechkin build, survivability expert, superintendent for the heal, and RPF so that I can DD hunt. Now, it is a top-tier game, and there is a Tier 6 CV. What is important to know about the Kidd? Well, the Kidd has probably the best destroyer AA at Tier 8 right now. It comes with that nifty defensive fire consumable, and it has some pretty fearsome AA, especially against Tier 6 planes. Kidd has basically 5 guns. They're standard U.S. Navy destroyer guns, the 127 45s. They might be 127 38s, actually. I'm not sure on that. Big, lofty arcs. And she only does have one torpedo tube, albeit it is a quintuple torpedo tube with a long reload. In fact, we're talking around a minute and 50, a minute and 40 seconds, minute and 50 seconds, somewhere in that neighborhood. So her torpedo DPM is pretty poor. You will rely on her doing damage via her guns, setting fires, and of course using AP against effectively light cruiser broadsides and sometimes battleship superstructure. In this case, my div mates are in a Lenin and a Massachusetts. These are two perfect pushing ships. Our CV very kindly goes out and spots the right side of the map, where I do see the Badyoni, the Massachusetts, the Alba, the Akatsuki, and I believe that's the Bismarck. So all of the secondary ships that would be a threat to me are all on the other side of the map. That means over here we will have an Ismail, and we will have a Leon and a Sinop. Also means that where RPF is pointing, it has to be a destroyer. And any moment now, we're going to see that Tier 8 French destroyer pop up in front of me, and that's going to be the Le Terrible. Notice that I'm not terribly afraid of anything here. I have a Dallas, a Lenin, a Massachusetts, and very shortly a Graf Spee for support. And here comes the Le Terrible. In fact, he turns straight into me. He's spotted, but he turns straight into the cap. And of course, he's very tempted by the Dallas. His guns are looking the other way. I know the Terrible's guns don't turn very well. Their traverse is actually terrible. Ha ha ha. So, we slam on the brakes. We start backing up to bait those torpedoes out, and we start farming DD health. Notice I'm not smoking up here. Even though he fired, I'm not concerned about smoking up. I have a heal. I can handle some damage. And nobody's actually even targeting me at this point. One pops up. My assumption is that is the destroyer. That bumps up to 2. Again, my assumption is that that is the Terrible. There is one rack of torps. No shots really coming in. Speed chunks him. Hardcore right there. We break one of his rear guns. He's trying to disengage, but he's not going to be able to. He continues to fire, which guarantees that he stays spotted. And we're going to let those shells fall in for our first kill of the game. Ismail barely out of detectability range. I'm not sure how that worked if the gun bloom dropped that fast, but it certainly did. And we go unspotted here. Well, now all we have to do is cap. I know the Akatsuki's on the other side, so I don't really have to worry about him. I know the Pensacola and the Sinop are spotted on the other side, so the only thing that's unaccounted for is the CV, who we saw coming in this direction, and the... is that a Miyoko? I think it's a Miyoko. The Ismail, we know he's going to push in. It's an Atago. We know this Ismail's going to push straight into cap. He does not want to be side on to a Lenin of all things. So we assume that he's going to push straight in. Unfortunately, I didn't realize the Atago was going to be there, and I thought, too late, the Atago's probably running Hydro. And the Atago is running Hydro as our Ismail goes down on the other side of the map. However, Speed does a good job of absolutely chonking that Atago and sending him hiding behind the island. Here I'm going to spot up. Guess I don't smoke up because I really don't need to be under fire of 2 battleships, especially a Leon. Can do some pretty significant damage. So we smoke up and we're just going to farm plane kills. Actually, in chat, we were questioning why our Dallas was still alive until the Leon answers our question. Bye-bye, Tier 6 American Light Cruiser. Guys, don't show broadside to a Leon, especially in something as squishy as that. Big Dog has got the side of the Leon to shoot at, and he chunks him for about 10k damage. The CV is coming back for some more fun, but this CV is not going to get any work done with a Kidd, a Lennon, and a Massachusetts sitting here for AA support. We're just going to sit in this smoke, and we're going to farm the Ismail. Fire on him. He's repped that fire. We're just going to farm plane kills. Their Massachusetts kills our Alba, so we're now down 3 ships to 1. Big Dog does finish off that Tier 6 battleship, which is excellent. We need this side to clean up fast, because we need to get across the map right now. Big Dog also cleans up that Atago. Cool deal. Guess what I found? We found a CV. The CV, for some reason, decides he wants to torpedo... I don't know if that was aimed at the Graf Spee, or my smoke, or me. I'm not quite sure. The Akatsuki pops up, and I'm not going to engage here, because I'm actually not spotted. Yes, the CV is going to come back, but I don't want to be spotted until his planes are in my detectability range, because I don't really need to be dropped by them. I trigger my defense, my AA, a little bit too early, and unfortunately, he does get a drop on me, does a little bit of damage, but we're going to start farming the CV. If we can take their spotting out of the game, we're going to have a significant advantage. Nice thing about the Ranger, it has no armor, so we can Beachy Citadel, that flat top, and put him back to port. He had fun. And unfortunately, I won't be able to have any more fun with my AA. Well, maybe a little bit. But now, my status as an AA support ship is definitely in question. The Akatsuki, I think the Akatsuki fired his guns, and that's why he's spotted. I'm not sure. But potentially, in quick succession, we pulled this back to an even game. 4-on-4. Speed does go down to the Bismarck's crossfire. He was trying to angle against that Sinop. Last seen right in that B-Cat. Akat drops his torpedoes, presumably at Big Dog in the Massachusetts. However, he is spotted, and honestly, I'm not afraid of anything here. He can really shoot at me, so we're going to finish off this IJN destroyer and remove the last of their potential spotting. My RPF is pointing around the island, and I know where the Sinop is, so that means something is closer than the Sinop, which can only be the Pensacola. We spot the Alba. For a very split second, we see that he's on incredibly low health. He's on a sliver of health. Moss goes down to the Massachusetts secondaries. That's his 3rd kill. We do get temporarily spotted by, I believe that was a fighter plane from the Pensacola. Big Dog chunks the Sinop's broadside, and we drop torpedoes. Unfortunately, the Sinop is already executing his turn, and I did not underlead enough. Know those torps are going to miss, because he is going to angle up against the Massachusetts. So we're just going to sit here and farm him for a little while. Note that that Leon is still sitting up in C2 as where he was last seen. Leon is pretty slow as it comes to battleships, so I'm not really terribly worried about him at this point. We spot the Pensacola only briefly. I believe it was the KGB that spotted him. But we spot him very briefly. Now we're down a ship. We're farming away this Sinop. We need this Sinop to go. The Bismarck is actually threatening our carrier at this point, and the carrier represents a significant chunk of points. That's an irreparable fire on the Sinop, so we're going to bail out of this smoke. He's outside my detection range. Big Dog's going to finish him off as well. And suddenly, we're even on ships again. We have a slight points lead because we've had 2 of those caps for a significant portion of time, but our anchorage goes down to the Massachusetts. That is his 4th kill. And the Bismarck is still threatening our Gneisenau and our CV. So at this point, we are actually going to be down on points in just a moment or two. They're actually up on ships as well. But, what have I said so many times? Destroyers win games. Little bit of a brown pants moment here as the Pensacola comes out about 4.5K from me. We're going to try some AP on his broadside and not getting very good salvos here. I mean, that's 1,300. Big Dog chunks him for half of his hit points, but no citadels, unfortunately. As the Gneisenau goes down to the Massachusetts, that's his Kraken Unleashed, and I believe it's his 2nd or 3rd close quarters expert. So we're switching back and forth from HE to AP here based on what he's doing and how he's sailing. He is shooting AP at me, which is very... I'm thankful for that, because if he's shooting HE, it's going to break a lot of my modules, and I prefer not to have to damcon in open water. Big Dog gets his 4th kill by sending that Pensacola back to port, but now he's in a bit of a sticky predicament. He's being shelled by a Bajoni. He has a Massachusetts in front of him. Now he's on 4 kills, we're even on caps, we're down on ships. Our Ranger's going to go down, we'll be down 3 ships, it'll be a 3-on-5 at that point. I'm outside of gun range of the Bismarck, he can't spot me because my guns don't have the range. I'm going to start farming this Massachusetts. Because this Massachusetts is on a Kraken, and we need to get him off the board. The Bismarck finally kills our Ranger. Suddenly we're down 475 to 615 points. We're even on caps, so that point differential is not going to change unless we kill something. Now, I know that Alba's low enough health, but I'm really not interested in going to find him. I know that that Bismarck is rather low health, but right now I'm going to try and help my Divmate kill this Mass. The Mass makes the smart move. He turns toward the island to cut off my potential torpedo lanes. And I remember in Discord chat right now, Big Dog saying, "God damn it, this guy's going for the ram." Which is not a bad trade if he trades ships straight up. Then, honestly, they would maintain that points differential. And we'd be 1 less ship to deal with theirs. Unfortunately, he does manage the drive-by before the ram. In fact, you can see him bounce off the rear end of the Massachusetts. He manages the drive-by. Big Dog gets enough shells into him, though, that I'm able to burn this fella down. King George manages to take out the Bismarck, who's sitting basically in our spawn. And suddenly, we are 3v2 instead of a 5v2. What do we do here? Leon is threatening our ACAP. There's a near full health Bajoni and a nearly dead Alba. The King George can probably reset that Leon well enough if he gets into the ACAP. But my RPF suddenly switches to between A and B. I'm sorry, B and D? B and D. That means that either that Alba or the Bajoni is there, and for some bizarre reason, the Alba pops up on 117 hit points. This is just a pure misplay. As a bottom tier cruiser and that low health, all you really had to do was run away. Let your battleship cap and run away, but by exposing your ship like that, you essentially just gave away the game. 2 shatters and 1 pen ends his day, sends him back to port. That is my Kraken. Now I'm in the middle of the map, and I'm sort of stuck in between a rock and a hard place. The last spotted position of the Leon was heading between A and B cap. The Bajoni pops up on 9,000 hit points between B and C, or B and D. Unfortunately, I left my AA on, gives him an exact description of where I am. And I have to think about how to make this work. Luckily, I played the Bajoni relatively recently. And I know that the Bajoni's smoke firing penalty is right around 5.5, 6 kilometers. However, he's spotted by the King George. If he decides to turn and try to use my smoke to cover him, he will be spotted. Blind fires. Not damage counting that blind fire. I still have 3 heals. It's not worth it. But, of course, like I said, you switch to AP on broadside, light cruisers, and look at that. 1,300, 1,500, 2,500, another 1,700. And he does chunk me with a really nice blind fire. I gotta give kudos to that guy. That guy really did a nice job blind firing into smoke. I know torpedoes are on the way, but they're only 4 kilometers. He's not gonna ever be able to touch me with those. And we're up on ships, and we're up on points. We're going to get a couple of cheeky resets here into the Leon. Now, it's right about this point where I'm starting to farm this Leon. And of course, there you go in chat, people. Well played, kid. Now, at this point, I am saying in Discord to Speed and to Big Dog, do I get greedy? We're up by 100 points. Could the Leon kill the King George? Potentially, yes. King George is on about somewhere around 50% health, maybe 60% health. Oh no, he got a heal off since last time we saw him, so he's about 3/4 hit points. Could the Leon kill the KGV? Sure, probably. Do I want to get greedy? Absolutely. Big Dog pointed out I am on 6 kills. Why not go for 7? So we're going to play Ring Around the Rosie here. I know exactly where the Leon is by a RPF. He's still capping the point. I have torpedoes ready. I know he's low enough that with my Alpha Strike on these torps, these are basically Benson torps. With the Alpha Strike, this guy's dead. I also have played the Leon relatively recently enough to know that it only has 1 turret in the front, and it can only fire 4 shells forward. So by being careful, by playing this carefully and staying to his fore, to his bow, I can't do a whole lot of damage to him. He's not going to detonate me because I have a det flag equipped. I always run det flags on my premium ships. Fat Finger the defensive AA. He does get 1 set on me. I do have a pair if I need it, but these torps will end the game. That's our 7th kill. It's 88,000 points of damage, 815,000 credits, 17,000 experience, 7 kills, a Confederate, a Kraken Unleashed, and a Dev Strike. Oh, I'm sorry, that is a First Blood. Our Div face rolled this game with 11 out of 12 potential kills, 2,572 base XP as a top tier ship. You see that very frequently as a bottom tier ship, but not too often as a top tier ship. Kill screen. Yeah, we had a couple of kill steals in there, but it's never a kill steal as long as you are taking something off the board, especially taking the Ranger off the board. 50,000 Commander XP. We're trying to get Oven Chicken all the way up to 19 points. Guys, we do play all of these on our Twitch stream at twitch.tv/DrDrunkAKA. Head on over there, drop a follow, helps the channel out a lot. And don't forget to like and subscribe on YouTube. Dr. Drunk AKA signing off, telling you it is last call. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here.